Heart attacks are a leading cause of death worldwide. Recognizing the early signs and symptoms of a heart attack is crucial for getting prompt emergency care to prevent damage to the heart muscle. Here are 10 symptoms that could potentially indicate someone is having a heart attack. Chest pain or discomfort. This is the most common heart attack symptom. People often describe it as pressure, tightness, pain, or a squeezing sensation in the center of the chest. The pain may come and go. It can be mild or severe. It may feel like indigestion. However, any unexplained chest discomfort could signal a heart attack, especially if it lasts more than a few minutes or goes away and comes back. Upper body pain. Symptoms can include pain or discomfort in one or both arms, the jaw, neck, back, or stomach. This upper body discomfort can be another sign of a heart attack, even without chest pressure. The pain may be described as tingling or numbness. Shortness of breath. Some people having a heart attack experience difficulty breathing. A person may struggle to catch their breath, even when resting. Shortness of breath while doing everyday activities is also a warning sign. Nausea and vomiting. Feeling sick to your stomach or throwing up are not typical symptoms of a heart attack but can occur along with chest pressure, sweating, and shortness of breath. Abdominal discomfort that seems unrelated to indigestion could be an early indicator. Sweating, breaking out in a sudden, cold sweat for no apparent reason can be linked to a heart attack. Excessive and unexplained sweating, especially together with chest discomfort and nausea, requires emergency care. Lightheadedness. Some people feel lightheaded, dizzy, or as though they might pass out. A heart attack can impair the heart's ability to pump blood properly throughout the body. Poor circulation will deprive the brain of oxygen, causing these symptoms. Fatigue. A feeling of exhaustion, fatigue, and weakness can be a sign of reduced blood flow due to a heart attack. This lack of energy may persist for days before the actual heart attack occurs. It's not normal to feel overly tired and weak for no reason. Irregular heartbeat, palpitations, fluttering, or the sensation that your heart is skipping beats could indicate a heart problem such as a heart attack. A very rapid or slow heartbeat is common during a heart attack. Anxiety, a sense of dread, impending doom, or extreme uneasiness are terms often used to describe this symptom. The anxiety may seem excessive and unrelated to your situation. Researchers believe anxiety can be your body's early warning system of an impending heart attack. Denial. People having a heart attack often downplay or ignore symptoms like chest discomfort and nausea. They may delay seeking treatment despite feeling ill. Denying or underestimating the potential seriousness of symptoms can have fatal consequences. In summary, trust your instincts if you think you or someone else may be having a heart attack. Call emergency services immediately for rapid assessment and treatment. Never try to drive yourself or someone else experiencing these symptoms. Prompt action can save lives and limit damage to the heart muscle during a heart attack. Recognizing the signs makes a critical difference. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.